Every goat on this farm has a name. They're all bottle raised, hand reared, loves attention. Hey, Claire Bear, come here. They want attention. They want to be pet. They want to be loved on. And I mean, like I said, they're very social, interactive creatures.
One thing that you covered in the tour that I thought was really fascinating was, I've got a goat chewing my sweater, was that goats will die if they're alone.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean,
So you actually see them, they die if they're left alone.
They need companionship. They need friends. They need social interaction.
If the camera's moving, it's because I'm getting nibbled. Wow, they are fun. They're so social.
Say hi. Huh? Hi. Yeah.
Hello, joyful ones. This is Joan Craig here with Choose Joyful Health, and today I'm here with Jessica Bell of Split Creek Farms in Anderson, and we're learning all about goat dairy. So thank you so much.
Oh, welcome. You're very welcome.
We've already had a tour and learned a lot about the wonderfully cared for and loved goats here. So you mentioned the nutritional value, and I think that's something that people are really interested in. So tell us a little bit about how goat milk is different from cow milk.
As a starter, for people that have lactose intolerant issues, goat's milk is more easily digestible, and it's more easily and faster processed through the body. Normally it's due to the chains of the protein chains and the fatty acid chains.
Like
Goat's
the
milk
triglycerides?
yeah, it's shorter.
The medium chain triglycerides.
Yeah, so if you have a shorter chain, you don't have to work as hard to break it down.
Okay, so just to kind of tie into what people may be familiar with, coconut oil is touted as a great thing because it's medium chain triglyceride and the energy is usable faster in the body. So
Exactly.
This is similar.
Similar,
Okay. So
yeah.
you were just mentioning that goat milk is easier for people with allergies. So speak to a little bit of why that is.
Right, so not just if they're lactose intolerant, but the main allergy source that doctors are finding is a casein allergy. And there's two types of casein, the alpha 1 or the A1 and the A2. Most people are hypersensitive or have the allergic response to the A1 casein. Goat's milk is lower in A1, it's higher in A2, which is the opposite of cow's milk. So people that have this hypersensitivity or this allergic response, it may not be as much as the lactose as the casein gene.
Right, and that's what I had read as well, that it's like sometimes a casein allergy actually looks like, smells like, feels like a lactose intolerance, in that people have gas or bloating and stuff like that.
Exactly.
And so that's another reason someone who doesn't do well with cow dairy may do better with goat.
Exactly.
Well, when you say processing, what came to my mind, I realized you were talking about in the human body, but what about before it even goes to the consumer? Like cow's milk, I think, has to be homogenized.
It has
in
to be,
some states,
yeah.
I think.
Yeah,
so.
and typically the cow's milk that you guys are going to find in a grocery store has been stripped. It's been stripped of the fat because that's going to make butter or heavy cream. It's been homogenized. What's left, it's been pasteurized or heat treated or ultra pasteurized, which is denaturing proteins. It's breaking down amino acids. You're losing a lot of the vitamins and the good stuff. That's the point of drinking milk. And then they add all that back in. What we do here, we are licensed as a grade A raw milk state, and we are a raw milk dairy. So what you get is from the goat, completely natural, nothing taken away, nothing added.
So it's just like screened to get the grass out.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's filtered,
Yeah.
so we don't get any hairs,
Right.
and that's it. It's filtered and cooled and bottled and to you in its most natural form.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
So raw, it's not homogenized.
Correct.
And then the milk that you sell is not pasteurized, but the milk is pasteurized to make cheese.
To make our types of cheeses, we make three main types, which is a chèvre, a fromage, and a feta. And we do pasteurize so that we can add the specific culture and enzyme to make the specific type of cheese that we want to.
But because it's culturing, the enzymes for digestion have come back in.
They come back in.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
great. It's this dance. So, another question that I had while I was researching this is I found out that a lot of feta is made from goat milk, but not all. So, how do we know if it is or isn't?
Yeah. So normally, if you were anywhere else in the entire world, goat would be feta. Feta would be goat.
Besides the United States.
Besides the United States, anywhere else.
Right.
But in the United States, since we've got all this space and bigger is better, and that's our mentality, then it's going to be cow, unless it states specifically otherwise.
But if the label says it's from Europe,
Most
European
likely
feta cheese, even if it doesn't say goat, it's probably goat.
It's probably going to be goat.
Another question that I haven't personally noticed this, but I've heard other people say that goat milk tastes goaty. And again, I don't really know what goaty tastes like, but what are some of the culinary differences or taste differences in maybe compared to cow's milk and then among the different kinds of goat milk?
Yeah, so it's really all about how you care for your animals, how you house your animals, and what they are fed. You can have an entire herd of goats eating a pasture of wild onions, and the milk is going to taste like wild onions.
Right.
So people get this goaty flavor from smaller dairies, smaller farms that house the boys too close to the girls, especially this time of year. This time of year is breeding season, so the boys get a little bit odoriferous.
The boys stink in the
The
fall.
boys stink,
Okay.
basically. And that's that goaty taste. Just like if you have an open glass of milk in your refrigerator, it's going to pick up the taste of everything. It just infuses into it. So here we house the boys downhill, downwind.
Right.
And if you don't, then yeah, it can bring in that goaty taste.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So, but we like a very clean, very fresh, natural tasting here.
No onions.
No onions. No onions.
Garlic. Let's move on and talk about the environmental impact. A lot of people that are following Choose Joyful Health, we want to eat well and be healthy, but also make choices that are working with our conscience. And so talk to me about specifically Split Creek Farms, but also maybe if you could speak to the wider world of goat dairy farming and how it's good, bad. What's the good, the bad, and the
The
neutral?
bad, the ugly. Yeah. We are blessed in this country that we have a lot of space, and we've taken advantage of that. And cattle take up more space. They're grazers as opposed to browsers, meaning that cows eat grass. They eat with their head down. They need a wide space. Typically, it takes 2 to 4 acres for a cow-calf pair for 1 year.
Okay, that's helpful.
A goat is a browser, so they like shrubs, leaves, poison ivy, honeysuckle, anything that's up. They will very rarely eat pasture.
Interesting. So the pasture actually has to be more diverse with more trees and shrubs in it, instead of just a big empty field.
Yeah, and if you see a goat eating off the ground, it's because they're very, very hungry and they're not getting supplemented properly. It's a parasite thing with them. They don't want to eat that close to the ground. So you can have 10 to 12 goats on 1 acre of land
For a year.
Without supplementing. And if you want to supplement with hay or with foraged grain, then you can house more than that safely, where you're not going to damage the earth. You're not going to damage the soil and affect the natural ecosystem.
Now, so that all makes sense, but if you say a goat doesn't produce as much milk as a cow, how does it even out?
Yeah, how does that balance? So typically a goat will produce 1 gallon of milk per goat per day. When you have 10 to 12 goats, that's 10 to 12 gallons per day, which is going to max out over 1 cow.
Okay.
So in the scheme of things, you're going to get more milk for the usage of that land.
On the land.
Yeah.
Okay, that's helpful. And then obviously we've toured in Split Creek Farms. You can hear all the critters in the background, and we wish you could see all the goats, but the sun wasn't shining on them. But they're loving and they're sweet here. So I'm also wondering though, like in cow dairy farming, then I've seen places that are small local farms where the cows are well cared for and they're having a great life. And I've also been to California, driving up US 5 and seen cow switch, which is, I think, more of a meat. It's a cattle farm, but it was awful and it was not healthy. So are most goat farms small family-owned things, or are there big operations as well?
There are some commercial goat operations where they're on almost like feedlot type situations, concrete pads, these huge turnstile, just machine type things, and you know, we never intend to get that big. We love to see the girls go out to pasture and take their afternoon nap out in the shade and come back in and lounge and hang out, and you know, their work is about 10 minutes a day to get milked, and the rest of the time they just get to eat and hang out and get petted. So that's the goal.
So I think for our viewers, the bottom line is the same that we're always saying in Shoe Store for Health and in 5-Star Eating. It's like, know where your food comes from, because just because it's goat dairy or goat cheese or goat milk doesn't mean the goat was cared for wonderfully. Although I think there's probably more small goat farms than there are small cow farms.
Definitely.
It's just an easier to manage animal.
Exactly.
Okay. All right, so the big question on everyone's mind is, what is goat yoga? We want to know.
I think it started off, people thought it was a joke and funny.
I thought it was a joke.
And we had such an interest, and we're like, okay, you know, we know how playful they are. We know how much they love interaction. And they love to be around people and be involved. And so we said, okay, so we asked a yogi to come out and give it a go, and the goats had more fun than the people did. The people had a blast, so it just worked out. I mean, it's the spiritual connection, and then you bring nature at its ultimate, right there with you.
So are you in the pasture, in the barn?
We're in the pasture, we're in the barn, we're with the babies, we're with the milkers.
And the teacher's giving a regular yoga class, and the goats are just wandering around.
They're taking a nap on your mat, or they're climbing on your back if it's a baby. And yeah, I mean, I wasn't sure at first, but I took 2 sessions. I was like, I love this. This is fun.
Great. Okay. And then, is there anything else you'd like to share with us about your passions and your purpose and your mission here?
Yeah. Main thing that I want to convey is the awesomeness of goats. You know, the goal is to promote the goat. That you don't have this preconceived notion or this misconception of Billy Goat Gruff, or you know, the goat under the bridge, or this Billy and Nanny goat and Stinky boys, and they are unique and individual, and they have their own personalities, and they're so social, they're so fun, and they're just cool. They're just really cool. And if you're, you know, hesitant about trying products, or maybe you've tried another type of pasteurized canned goat milk in the store, give it another shot as a fresh, natural product, and you know, give goats another try.
Yay! Thank you so much for your time.
Oh, you're welcome.
It's been a real pleasure today. We've had great fudge, smoothies, and goat milk and goat cheese, and had a great time today. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you. Yay!